Hey out there, it's me again. Okay, today I want to talk about writing your book from start to finish, beginning to the end. Okay, sorry, chocolate milk. Um, I feel like I start this out every way all the time, but for those of you who do not know, I am a published author. I write poetry, romantic suspense. All of my work can be found on Barnes and Noble under Tanya Tonya Young YOUNG. So I do have some writing experience. I've been writing since I st- I've been in love with writing stories since I was 6 or 7 years old. Wrote my first book when I was about 8. You know, my mom still has that book, and I hope she never pulls it out to show anyone. Um, so let's get started. So you want to be an author, and you want to write your own work. You don't want to choose a ghostwriter to do the work for you. You want to do it on your own. So this is how I start. Not sure about everyone else in the writing world, not our Stephen Kings, Tori Morrison's, Maya Angelou's, Anne Rice's. I don't know how they start. I can tell you what my process is. And hopefully I can make things easy for you. So first thing you need to do is choose what you want to write about. What genre do you want to write? Do you want to write mystery, crime, thriller, romance, contemporary romance, suspense, young adult novels? And the list goes on and on. Choose what you want to write, choose the genre, and then you put your idea on paper with an outline. Okay, I'm gonna go over a few things that you're gonna want to think about in your outline. One, location. Is this going to be an imaginary city, an imaginary town, or are you going to choose a real life location? You know, are you going to choose Greenwoods, Michigan? There's no such thing. I just made that up. Or are you going Lonely Dove, Colorado? I don't know. Or are you going to choose Denver, Colorado, Miami, Florida, Louisville, Kentucky, a real live location? But the important thing in choosing the location is that you should choose a location that is going to support the roles of your character's actions. Okay. Now, once you get all of that together in an outline, you also want to add your protagonist. Okay, your leading character. Okay, um, figure out what some of his or her characteristics are going to be. Okay, and then you want to add your antagonists. Those are the people who are actively hostile to something or someone, or your supporting cast, so to speak. Okay, you have, in every movie, every book, you have your lead character, and then you have the supporting cast. So those will be your antagonists. You also want to figure out what time period or that you want to set your book in. That plays a huge role in character development. Now, I will say this: I don't really like putting timestamps on my books. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't like putting, oh, it was 2015. You know, make your book timeless. Don't add any years in it unless, if you're doing a, say your time period is 1815. It's a romantic suspense novel, fiction, and you want it based in 1815. Then okay, you use those. Those years and build up your characters from there. What else? make sure when you are building your characters up, your character development, you're building characters that are going to draw in the attention of your reader. You're building characters with depth and personalities that will make your reader go, okay, I don't want to put this book down. I love this character. You know, it'll make them look for the second book in that series because they're that much into that character. Okay. Um, Another thing with your characters, backstories. You don't want to give everything up in the first chapter or even the second. Slowly give up little details of your characters' backstories so that the readers eventually feel like they know this character. They know where he or she came from, or how he or she was raised, and what turned he or she into who they are today. Slowly build that character development up throughout the book. Now, basically, what this outline is doing is, when you put everything in it, is rounding up your scenes, characters, ideas, and it organizes them in a coherent way to generate plot points. Okay. Now, your plot points. Okay, your plot consists of 5 important elements. It's going to be your exposition, introduction, rising action, climax or turning point, following action, and then the resolution. Okay, and all of this should be outlined in your outline. Okay, so that you have a step by step of where you should be going with your book, instead of just being out there all willy nilly and making it up as you go. You have a starting point, you have some direction when you have your outline. Okay, now once you have that outline ready to go, everything's been taken care of, character development, plot, um, then you're ready to write your first draft. So you get in there and you start writing. And I will say, I like to write anywhere between 1,500 to 3,000 words per day. And again, even if I don't use everything that I write, I still like to write. Keeps the juices flowing. If you don't have time to write that much, at the very least, 500 words per day. Okay, and just remember, the more time you take to write, the longer it's going to take to get that book written. So write as much as you can each day, and write as much as you can each day. And try to use whatever is in that piece of writing that you write for the day that is usable. Use it. Okay, now that's your first draft, right? Right. Okay, that's all you're concerned with is writing. Don't double back and try to edit or anything. Write until you hit the end. Okay. Now, once you finish with your first draft, you're going to move on to your second draft. Now, your second draft, everyone does things differently. Again, this is where I go back and edit, and while I'm editing, this is where I choose, okay, am I going to have chapter headings, or am I going to choose to number my chapters? There are tons of New York Times bestsellers who use numbers to separate their chapters, and not chapter headings. So don't be down on yourself if you're thinking, I don't want to come up with chapter headings. It's okay. I think the only time chapter titles are really, really, really important is when you have different narrators throughout your book. Say I'm writing a book and it's from 3 different people's perspectives. when I come to a chapter and it's from, let's say, Sally Mae's perspective, I'm going to want to write Sally Mae at the top to let the people know, let the readers know this is Sally Mae's perspective. This is what she's going through in all of this, and so on and so forth with the other narrators in the book. Okay, and again, the second draft, you are going to be identifying plot holes while you're editing. So if there are any plot holes, you are going to want to fix them. And also, you're going to be making changes in your character development. Um, Sometimes you in that first draft, you may think, oh, that character, oh, it's everything. But when you go back, you go, oh, I could add a little bit more to make her more interesting, or make him more likable, or make him less likable. Um, Now, identifying plot holes. Always question the logic of your plot. You know, go through and make sure that everything is lined up correctly. Okay? A plot hole can completely take your audience away from your book and make things confusing. So make sure everything lines up from chapter to chapter to chapter, from beginning to the ending. Okay? Now, I think now I will say this. It has taken me 5 or 6 drafts before to finish up a book. It's not a quick process. So if it takes you 3 years to write a book, it's okay. It is not a one and done process. If you take your first draft and go, I'm done, best believe you're gonna have a ton of mistakes when that book comes out onto print. Okay, my advice would be to never take that first draft and just put it out to print and sell it. Maybe the Stephen Kings and Anne Rices, and maybe those writers do that because they're just that good. I don't know, but I would never do that. It sometimes it takes even 10 or 11 drafts before you go, this is perfect. This is what I want to put out there for the world to read. Okay, so think about that. But with each draft, make sure you're improving on the writing, improving on the story, improving on the plot, improving on your character development, your character relationships. I'm sure if you're a writer or want to be a writer, you read a lot. You've read books and thought, I have to go back and read that a second time. Or you've thought, oh my gosh, the characters in this book, I love them all. Or I hate that character. You want people to feel that. You want people to feel like your characters are coming alive off the pages they're reading. Okay? Now, the next step would be book covers. Now, do you want to create a book cover on your own, or do you want to pay someone to do so? If you want to pay someone to do that, a book cover could cost you anywhere from $15 to $1,000 or more. Yeah, they can get expensive, and it's the really, really good designs that get expensive. The ones that you are going to pay $15, $20 for, or $25 for, are going to be good, but they're not going to be, wow, that stands out, But you can also make your own book covers. Bookbolt.com. You do have to have a monthly subscription. You can go on there and create your book covers, download them, and save them to your PC and use those. You can either use your own artwork, or they do have some templates on there that you can use, or you can find artwork in other places to use. But you can make those book covers on your own. Just depends on what you want. Let's see. The next thing I would say would be copywriting. Oh my gosh, I have 2 videos on this. where I'm on my channel where I'm practically begging people to please copyright your work. You can go to U.S. government copyright. You can go to their website, upload your book manuscript, pay the fee, which is I believe $55. Pay the fee and be done with it. Now your book is copyrighted and it's safe. It's yours. Once you put it out there, no one can take it from you. You know, only takes it takes a couple of months for them to mail you your copyright paperwork in the mail, but you know it's coming. It's coming. And they will email you if there are any issues with that. But please copyright your work. You know, I put it this way. I would not want to write a song and say, you know what, I'm gonna go back and I'll probably sing that on my third album, but I don't think it's right for my first album. And then in the midst of writing your second album, you're listening to the radio and your song's on the radio. And you're looking around and going, huh, someone stole my song. And now it's a number one and they're getting credit for it. They're making millions. I can't prove it's mine. You don't want to be in those shoes. Copyright all of your work, whether it's song lyrics or poetry lyrics, or poetry or your novel. Copyright, people. Okay, and you can also go to LegalZoom. LegalZoom charges more than the U.S. government copyright website does. They charge. The last time I was on their site, it was about $75 to start. There are other places you can choose to copyright, but I wouldn't go anywhere other than LegalZoom or the U.S. government copyright website. Okay. Now, after you have copywritten your work, chosen a book cover, gotten a million drafts out of the way, and it's ready to go, the next thing you are going to do is choose a publisher. You're going to research publishers and choose a publisher. There are tons of self-publishing publishers out there, publishing companies out there, but I'm just going to name off a few for you. You have Lulu Publishing, which is one that I go through a lot. iUniverse. If you are familiar with any of my videos, you know that I would not suggest iUniverse to my worst enemy. KDP, I use them for my low content books. Smashwords, they're pretty good. BookBaby, Instagram Spark, Kobo, Blurb, and Barnes & Noble. I think the important thing when researching for a publishing company is you look at all of the reviews, everything. Read everyone's review for each one of them. Look at pricing for all of them. Now, we'll tell you, iUniverse is very, very, very expensive, and it's not worth the trouble of paying them. But definitely do your research when it comes to choosing a publisher. You don't want to choose a publisher who is going to take your funds and not give you your royalties. Now, I will admit, I do like Lulu Publishing, but I have had an issue with them in the past with not paying me my money. And you just have to stay on them. Now, I do have a couple of videos on Lulu on my channel, so I won't go into depth, but I will say this. They are good, but there's still some glitches in their website. And after you choose your publisher, this is the hard part, for me as an author, choosing your pricing. When you're choosing your pricing for your books, I like to make my books reasonable for everyone. I want people to buy my books, you know. I don't want them to be overly expensive. Now, the problem with that in using one of these publishers is that if you say your price is too low, you're going to get zero when it comes to royalties, because the publishing company is going to charge you to print those books when they're ordered, and they are going to charge for other things, and you're going to end up with zero. So you have to charge a certain amount for paperback and hardcover books so that you can have some return on that, so that you can actually get paid. I mean, who wants to write and put all of that sweat into writing a book and not get any return off of it? So pricing is the difficult part for me when it comes to hardcover and paperback books. I want people to be able to enjoy my work. I want people to be able to purchase my novel. And with the way that the publishing companies charge, it's really hard to set your book prices at a reasonable price for your customers. So a lot of what I've been doing is a lot of ebooks, because I think a lot of people are doing that now, because you can actually set those at 99¢, but you're still, you know, a lot of people are going to have to buy those books for you to really see a profit off of that. So that would be it. If I missed anything, I'll edit. I'll do another video. But if you have any questions and comments, please leave them below, and I will get back to you. I do respond to comments. Please give the video a thumbs up. Please hit the red subscribe button. And right. Check out my my other channel. My other channel is kind of my entertainment channel. I do a lot of fun things on that channel. It is Spiritually, Spiritually, Young, Young. Check that out. And again, questions and comments, please leave them below. I will get back to you. Peace and blessings, people. Peace and blessings.